2, 1.
Welcome to the house, the one they talking about. Word of mouth, the boxing playhouse, without a doubt. All the latest and greatest boxing news, that's what it's all about.
All right, welcome to Boxing Playhouse. And of course, this is Sakura A and Emilio Santana.
What's up, y'all?
And of course, you know, we got Spanish Ray on deck from Georgia. Oh my God, is that the legendary Joe Cortez is in the house? Yes, I love it. And of course, Stitch Duran. He's stitching it up for everybody lately in every city and across the globe. And of course, we have Liz Brereton.
Liza.
It is Liza. Okay.
It's Liza. Liza Minnelli.
Right. Yeah, like Liza Minnelli. Okay. So thank you guys all for being on the show tonight. We really appreciate your time. I mean, it's a lot been going on in boxing this year. A lot of transitioning from the USA to Saudi Arabia and back again. So I guess I'll start the show by asking, what are you guys feeling about this new location for the sport?
You know what? There's money there. Why not? Let fighters make some money. We need new things in boxing. Maybe it'll wake up the United States. If we can start saying, you know what? They're taking it away from us. Let's do something better. And maybe we need a little slap in the face to make it happen.
Wake up call.
He's speaking facts tonight.
What do you think, Stitch?
I have to 100% agree with you, and I feel like this is like solely due to the U.S. promotional and boxing community's fault. Like it's on the onus of this is on us because you know, fans want to see the best matchups that can be made, and we want to see stacked cards, and we're willing to watch the US, the UK, big boxing pockets, our hubs, and globally our hubs. We just want to see the best fights. We want to see the competitive matchups, right?
Yeah, I think the promoters and we had great back in the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. Then bring it back again. What were we doing back then that went what we did back in the old days?
Yeah, you definitely. It was bringing the best fights. I mean, how can Joe Cortez have such an amazing record for the best fights that were ever? I mean, your name is officially on some of the best fights that have ever been made in the sport. And that only happens because they used to be giving us so many competitive fights. And I think that's what's missing now.
Well, you know, there's a lot of good referees out there, you know. And there's a lot of good fighters out there. We got to try to develop. You like the other day, we had some fights here at the Westgate Hotel, which was formerly the Hilton Hotel back in the days. And we had some amateur fights in the daytime. Then at nighttime, the amateur show was at the Orleans Hotel, and then the professional shows was at the Westgate Hotel. And I see my good friend Dr. Duran, Stitch Duran. I call him the doctor because he says he does a lot of stitching out there. Anyway, but he was at both events himself. So was I, and we can see that these small shows. We need these small shows to develop the young talent that's out there. We need promoters to bring more fights like that at least once or twice a month to Las Vegas and to New York and to New Jersey, California, all over the country. Bring these small promoters in, you know. But sometimes what happens is that the hotels and with the fights are going to be held at the venue, they charge too much money. The promoters, they lose money, so they're afraid to come back. They can make a reasonable fee for the promoters to say they charge them $5,000 to use the venue for the night instead of charging them 20, 25,000. You know, they got to pay, the promoters got to pay, especially young promoters coming up. They got to spend, they got to pay the officials, they got to pay the fighters, they got to pay for the venue, they got to pay for the everything. They got, I mean, it's a lot of expenses, and these promoters say we can't do that, so they're all backing off. Back in the old days, you should charge maybe $3,000-4,000 for the venue, and now they jacked it up to 20,000. You know, I mean, there's more money out there with the big fights, but the promoters that are trying to get into the game are not given the opportunity to put on the show.
Joe, when you said Westgate, we was out there when we went to Vegas. When it was the old, you said the old Hilton. I know Elvis used to perform there back in the day, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's the Paradise Boulevard, and that's a good old days, and that's where a lot of fights. I refereed many big fights there, and now they're coming back again with different. They have an MMA, they have boxing, they have all kinds of sports here now, which is needed here. I mean, here in Nevada, in Las Vegas, we have so many sports now. I mean, pretty soon it'll be the sports hall of sports. I mean, all sports are going to be to Nevada because we got boxing, we got MMA, we got football, we got basketball, we got volleyball. I'm not talking about professional, teams that are out there. And if I miss any, well, just mention them, but those are five right off the back. I mean, we're getting baseball. The Oakland A's are coming out to Las Vegas next year. And that's baseball. We never had baseball before, but we have football, boxing, MMA, wrestling. We got the car racing thing now. I mean, the Formula One. The Formula One.
Formula One, yes.
Yeah, and that's all coming to Vegas. It's pretty good. We're starting to pick up. But, with boxing, the promoters, like I said before, we got to give them an opportunity, bring the rates a little bit lower so we can have the promoters say, we want to go to Las Vegas. But they go out to Europe, or they go to Saudi Arabia, and they get better deals there. They get much more money for the fighters. So everybody will say, I want to go to Arabia, I want to fight there. Well, United Kingdom, there's more money there. And that's why these promoters got to wake up and say, let's do it the way we did it back in the old days. But the commissions and the sanctioning bodies got to work together with the promoters.
Joe, I got a question I want to ask you. The fights, I ain't trying to change the subject or anything, but the fights last week, I'm sure you watched it last week, the Joseph Parker and the Bacoli fight. Did you see that, Joe?
No, I didn't get to watch it because I was with the amateur show in the daytime, and I was with the professional shows. I missed the show altogether, the other shows.
I was arguing with some guys on Facebook, man. It was a guy was trying to tell me that punch that Parker hit Bacoli high up on the head, he was saying it was illegal. I thought it was a legal punch, and we went back and forth. And I didn't know if you got a chance to watch the fight or not, or I wanted to know what you thought about it. Was it a legal punch? I thought all illegal were like behind the head, rabbit punches.
Well, what happened is
the guy got hit high up on the head, like how Mike Tyson hit Trevor Berbick.
Well, what happens is if a fighter turns his head, you turn your head to get away from a punch, and you get hit behind the head. You can't call that a foul because the fighter trying to get away from a punch. He's causing it himself to get hit. So you got a referee got to call it like if it was a legal punch. See, but now if you go behind the head like this, intentionally behind the head, the guy's right there. That's a foul. I hate to see fighters get going like that. Then the other guy goes the same thing with the other side. That's illegal. So that's why the referee in the dressing room, when he get in the dressing room, the referee got to take control back there and tell him, listen, I've been watching you and your fights in the past, because now you can watch these fighters that got to fight. The referees can do their homework by studying their fights and the history, the past fights that they had, the history of their fights. They know they got a habit of hitting low, or a habit of holding, a habit of punching behind the head. So you tell me in the dressing room, okay, guys, I want you guys to understand, I'm not going to take no nonsense here tonight. I'm not going to tolerate none. I've been watching your fight. You got a tendency of spinning the mouthpiece out intentionally, or you got a tendency of hitting behind the head, any of that, or excessive holding. There's holding is okay, but when there's excessive holding, it's not okay. You see, the referee got to know his rules exactly the way they are applied. And so this way, when you give instructions in the dressing room, you make you're fair, but you're firm with them. Like I always say, I'm fair, but I'm firm. But you know what? Then in the ring, it makes it easier for the referee. But you got to take
Right.
control back in the dressing room. Let them know that if you throw a punch and you try to get away from a punch and you get hit behind the head, I say you're causing it. I can't call it a foul on him. You know, and that's why a lot of if he goes down, it got to be called like it was a legal punch because he caused it. When like this, he gets hit. How can you blame the other guy for that? You know what I mean? So that's why you
Right.
got to be. You got a little gray area there. People say, "Well, he got hit behind the punch." It's legal if it's unintentional. It's illegal if it's intentional. Okay, and that's where the referees can understand. That a lot of fans, some fighters themselves don't even know that how rules are applied. The referee, who's supposed to have the full knowledge of the rules, got to explain to them how or what he expects that night. And these are the rules. And you tell the chief second, you're the chief second, you're in charge of your fighter, you know him better than I do. If you feel you've taken enough punishment, you feel you want to stop it whenever you want. I don't have to, don't wait for me to stop it. You know him better, you want to stop it, throw in the towel, come up to the ring apron, here in Vegas, you come up to the ring apron and you wave the towel in front of the fighter, where the referee can see it, and they stop the fight. The commission, the inspectors in the corner will help with the cornerman to stop the fight. But it's so important that the people understand the rules. Like yourself, you were arguing with somebody about the foul punch. But did you know that you turn your head, you turn your head and you get hit behind the head? You caused it, the referee got to call it like it was a legal punch. You didn't know that, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Thanks for the
Okay,
breaking it down, Joe. I appreciate
I
that.
know he still know his stuff. That's
Yeah.
what we got to realize. That
I knew,
listen,
Joe knew.
Stitch. What about you? Did you get to see Bacoli versus Parker? Did you see that particular punch that ended the fight?
I think his audio is not working.
Oh, is it muted? Are you muted?
Stitch.
Oh, you hit that button again.
Oh my bad.
Hold on a second. Oh, okay. Can we hear you now, Stitch? I still can't hear him. We had him earlier. I don't know what happened.
Stitch.
Lost Stitch.
Stitch.
I know. I could hear him earlier.
Cut man. Cut man.
Cut man.
Come here. Doing some sign language.
Cut
I mean,
man.
I thought it was a legal punch.
We can't hear you.
Stitch, have you tried clicking on your audio arrow to make sure it's the right microphone that's connected?
What does Spanish Ray think about it?
If somebody called in on them, then it'll mess it up. Sign back in right quick for us. Just hit the link again.
Cut man. We can't hear you.
Okay, he's gonna come back in a minute. Well, listen, Liza, I guess this is a perfect moment for us to also come to you and find out what you're doing in the sport. What was that, Joe?
Well, we're talking about rules implying boxing. One of the things that I would tell Stitch is that when a fighter gets hit with a headbutt, accidental, you have to for a completed round, you go to the scorecard. And back in the old days, they were after 6 completed rounds. But the referee got to say, or it was either, you could say it was a punch, or you say accidental headbutt, a cut, accidental. This way, you let them know. No point deduction, and it was accidental headbutt. This way, the commission knows that the commentators who are quick to make a decision without really knowing. The referee said, we don't know if the referee called it a punch or headbutt. The referee got to say, cut, headbutt, accidental. So this way they know, and they can tell the audience that cut was produced from. If they stop the fight before completed rounds, it'll be a no decision. But if it's after 4 completed rounds, you go to the scorecard. See, but that's if it's accidental. But if it's intentional, then the fighter calls in the cut and will lose by disqualification. You see, but the referee has to take points. Then before completed round, he loses by disqualification if the fight has to be stopped. There's a lot of things that go on in boxing that the fans don't know. And we got to make sure
Right.
that the commissions around the country explain that to the referees and to the, the cornermen and the trainers, the cutmen. Everybody should know what the rules are, because sometimes you have controversial decisions and all hell breaks loose in the corner because they misunderstood. They didn't know the rules, you see? So it's important that
Oh
the
yeah.
commission explains to the at the weigh-in. It'd be better at the weigh-in to have the commissioner read the rules right there to everybody. This way, they got it there at the weigh-in, and then when the referee goes back to the dressing room before the fight, gives them the instructions again. See, but that's important to know, because this way, the audience, the media is there, they can take notes of what's being said by the commission. No commission does that. They only do the weigh-in, but nobody gets the instructions at the weigh-in. You see, and that's very important that we do that.
Right.
Oh yeah. Stitch, can we hear you now?
It's
Oh no, we still don't got him. I don't know why.
Either
He said,
we
bye.
can't hear you. We can't hear you, buddy.
we got a comment. We got a comment from referee Christopher Young, baby.
Yeah, we still can't hear you, Stitch. Oh, okay. Referee Young has a question. He says, Mr. Cortez, when you refer
Referee.
Go ahead.
when you referee the George Foreman versus Michael Moore fight, when Foreman dropped Moore, did you think he was going to get up? And did you know at the time how monumental the fight would be?
Well, let me tell you, it was a big fight. It was George Foreman was losing every round. That was here in Las Vegas. He was losing every round. The first 9 rounds he was losing. Then the 10th round is when he got lucky. He put the short left hook and a straight right hand punch. He threw the hook and a straight right hand, and Moore went down. When he went down, I mean, it didn't look that hard to me, but I'm sure Moore felt it, because when he went down, I was counting. I picked count from the timekeeper. 4, then I said 5, 6, 7. When I said 7, I said to myself, this sucker ain't getting up. 8, 9, I said 10. That was it. And it was a punch heard around the world. I mean, it was amazing. You can see the picture behind me, the background picture there. That's Mike Tyson against Larry Holmes in Atlantic City. And Mike Tyson stopped Larry Holmes when he put him down in the 4th round. The last time he went down, the second time, I didn't even bother to count. I just waved it off right there. But that's a picture that I found. So let me use it as a background for the show today. But yeah, it's a great fight that I've refereed. I've had the honor. My dream was to do one world title fight. And my first world title fight, was Aaron Pryor and Miguel Montilla in Atlantic City in 1982. That was my first world title fight. I said, wow, my first world title fight. Unbelievable. And then I just said, from then on, everything picked up. And my second world title fight was Oscar De Niro from Brazil versus Michael Spinks, and that was up in Vancouver, Canada. And I was there. The media said, Joe, how many world title fights do you have? I was kind of embarrassed to say my second world title fight. So I was just like, wow, I was kind of embarrassed, but you got to start somewhere. And I did okay. Then everything picked up from there. Everything picked up. And when I retired after 35 years, I retired. I retired with 176 world title fights. That was amazing, I was just so
Joe, did
so
you
blessed.
do Mayweather and Pacquiao? Did you do that fight?
No, I didn't do that. Kenny
Bayless.
I did the Pacquiao and Juan Manuel Marquez. When Juan Manuel Marquez went down, Juan Manuel Marquez went down 3 times in the first round. And back in the old days, that fight would have been automatically stopped. It would have been the winner by KO of Mayweather. Pacquiao. But up to back when I was refereeing that fight, it's up to the discretion of the referee. And me being an ex-fighter myself, I saw with Marquez had gone down a couple of times. They were kind of flash knockdowns. And I felt that when he went on the 3rd time, he really didn't look like he was really out of it. So I started counting over him. I said to myself, I'm gonna count. If he gets up okay, I'll let it continue. If he gets up kind of wobbly, I'll stop it. but he got up okay, and he finished that first round okay. And Bob Ratterman said it best in the press conference they had when they had the fourth fight. Bob Ratterman said, one thing we got to remember is that when Joe Cortez refereed the first fight, if he would have stopped it, nobody would have complained because Marquez went down 3 times. But Joe
Right.
Cortez saw something that nobody else saw. And I decided not to stop. He said, Joe Cortez didn't stop it. If he would have stopped it, fight 2, 3, and 4 would never happen. You know? So every time Marquez sees me, he's so happy to see me because he said, man, Joe gave me an opportunity. And that's where the experience comes in. You know? I told referees, be careful with them. Don't try to copy what I did because I remember one time, and a fighter got hit with an uppercut, and the mouthpiece went flying up in the air. And I looked up in the air, and I caught it. And I popped it back in the guy's mouth. I told referee, everybody was applauding and said, wow, that was a great move by the referee. I said, don't do what I did. You know what I said? But when I looked up like that, I took my eyes off the fighters, right? I took my eyes off the, if the guy would have punched him when I was looking up, I don't know if he slipped or he got knocked down. And so don't do what I did. Let the mouthpiece fall down and take care of the fighters. But don't ever take your eyes off the fighter. It looks good, but don't do it. You know, again, crazy things will happen in boxing sometimes. And that's one of the things. Another thing I did was fighters were fighting, and the hand wrap was coming off. The tape was coming off. It was coming up about that long from the glove, right? And they were fighting, and as they went around, I grabbed it and I pulled it, and it came off, you know. And the people, the commentators, oh, that was a great move of the referee. He didn't have to stop. He did it. I said, fighters at the referee, don't do that, because when I pulled that tape off, if I would have pulled his arm back, he would have got hit with a punch because I pulled his arm back. He was not covering himself. He would have got knocked out. They said, you know, Joe, why the hell you pulled it? Why did you call time and have it cut off? It looked good, but don't do it. So these are the things that I say. Sometimes you gotta be careful with crazy things that can happen in boxing. That the referee gotta be
That was
aware.
seriously crazy.
Don't try to copy everything I did. Don't copy
We
everything I
got
did.
Will Hunter,
Here's one of these
the
young ladies
Hunter.
talk-
Yes, the Hunter. He's on here. He
Yeah.
says, "What's up, Boxing Playhouse?
What's up, Will?
Star-studded lineup this evening." What's up, Hunter? Yes, all the way from Biloxi, Mississippi. That's our guy. Now, Joe, I gotta ask you a question right quick, and basically, I need to know: are you gonna be at the WBC Women's Summit? It's coming up April 2nd and 3rd in Las Vegas. Am I gonna see your handsome face in the house?
You talking to me?
Yes. I said so. Are you gonna come to the WBC
Yeah, I'm gonna be there.
Women's Summit?
Yeah, I'm gonna be there.
You gonna be there? Okay. What about you, Liza? Are you planning on coming to this Women's Summit?
I hope so. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Camera's
Yeah,
slow.
we hear you.
Okay.
I see it right here. Women's Summit.
My video seems slow, but I'm going to try to come for the first day. I actually have my own smoker I'm competing in. That's Saturday the 5th. So I can't be gone too much, but I'm going to try to come just for the first day, like swoop in, swoop out from LA. So
okay.
it'd be great to meet you.
I mean, it would be great if I could see you there. I got to interview the wonderful Jill Diamond Chastain earlier today. Her interview will be out tomorrow, but we just discussed a little bit of some of the guests that's going to be, you know, given some type of lecture or insight. And they said that Rachel Donaire was going to do a little bit about what to look for in these contracts. So just give us a little rundown for some of our newer boxers, prospects that haven't signed anything yet, but it's one thing that you would suggest that they really look out for in a boxing contract before they sign.
Are you asking me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, the connection's a little slow. Yeah, I know Rachel Donaire. I actually met her in Las Vegas at Coach Larry Wade's birthday party in the fall. So I got to meet Nonito and Rachel in Vegas, which was really great. They were so friendly. They were the life of the party for sure.
Yeah.
So I actually met her up on I hit her up to let her know I might be there and that I was excited to see that she was going to be presenting. So yeah, Sakura, I'd love to meet you, and Joe, hopefully you as well in Vegas at the summit. But I would say that there are so many things, hard to pick just one. I think the big picture to look at is like the ability to terminate a contract. So under what conditions can a fighter terminate the contract, and under what conditions can, whether it's a manager or promoter or, you know, another type of player in boxing, can they terminate the contract? So usually there's going to be some differential in power. The fighter usually has the least amount of power, especially at that level. But does the manager have like complete discretion to just decide that they don't want to be in the contract with you anymore? Or does it have to be something like you've lost a certain amount of fights in a certain period of time? So that's one thing to look at. And in case people don't know who I am, I'm Liza. I'm an attorney. I work in boxing and I live in Los Angeles, and I create educational videos for fighters, trainers, gym owners, managers on my Instagram page. So to try to help people understand their rights and duties, because there's just a lack of information for people in boxing.
Okay, Spanish Ray, you have a question for Liza?
Spanish Ray.
I'd like to thank her for coming on, first of all, because she's in the new school here. We wish we had her back in the day with the other fighters that fell through the cracks. But girls like her, lawyers like her now, save these boxers now from making the mistakes the other boxers did back then. That's why I'm glad she's on to talk about her and her escalades.
Yes, her expertise is definitely needed in sports, what you got, sports contracts today, especially in the boxing community. We've all heard different horror stories about a bad contract.
One last thing I forget. Sorry, I don't want to get memory loss. She knows she was supposed to surprise Stitch because she actually works with Stitch's daughter, Carla, right, Liza?
Yeah, Carla Duran, Stitch's daughter, and I are both a part of the Ring of Brotherhood Foundation, which is the foundation that Lisa McClellan, Gerald McClellan's sister, started recently to try to help give more support to injured fighters and to try to, have better protocols to protect fighter health and safety. So I met her.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Ring of Brotherhood. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, Lisa. We've had a couple of interviews with her, and she's a good friend of ours, nice. Doing amazing work with her brother. I mean, it's really like she's a hero, It's like, who's there for you when the lights are not shining bright on in a ring? And she proves that there are people out there and family that will support their brother or their sister that's an athlete that's had a traumatic brain injury. So Lisa definitely deserves her flowers, as well as, of course, Gerald, G-Man. G-Man is always fun to talk to. Now, Joe, did you have a question for Liza as well when it comes to these contracts?
It's just that I have some ideas. I've always thought about being the next fighter. I came back from the early 60s when I was fighting myself. And I remember I had gotten myself an attorney when I signed a contract. When I was signing a contract, I had an attorney with me on my side. They had the manager had his people with him, and I had mine, making sure that I'm protected. I want to sign something that, when you're 18 years of age and you're signing a contract to turn pro or contract for fights, you want to make sure it's done the proper way. So having an attorney as a consultant with you is very important. Okay, that's one of the things. The other things I've always thought about, fighters, when they fight, a lot of fighters take all that money and they don't know what to do with it. A lot of these fighters are not that well educated. There's some that are educated, some are not. The majority are not. And they get all this money, they don't know how to invest their money properly. I think that they should try to work out a system where they can take out, with each fight, take out like, let's say 10% of the purse, put in some kind of annuity funds where they, at the end, when they retire from boxing, but that got to be done with a financial advisor and have your attorney there with them to make sure you do it the proper way. But a lot of fighters are out of the country and they think that they're going to steal their money. So it's got to be something that got to be set up in each nation separately. They got to try to have, uniformity across the board, that you have the annuities in their country as well as in our country. But the fighters here in the United States, we have an annuity funds that it's established by some financial advisors to get together and put that. I mean, there's nobody putting something like that together. I think WBC is trying to do something, but I'd like to see it. Every country should have their own group of attorneys and financial people together so they can establish just an organization where fighters feel comfortable of putting 10% of their purses into that annuity fund. They don't even know what to explain to them, how you invest money, and by investing it, you put it away. Then when you retire from boxing, you're going to get X amount of dollars. Like Mark Breland, I believe his managers did that with him when he was fighting pro, and they put so much of his money into annuity funds, and today he lives off pretty well off that money from the interest that's still involved, But a lot of fighters don't know how to do that. A lot of managers don't advise them how to do that because they themselves don't know. They have to get good people and financial people in the sport to help out these fighters.
Yeah, I
So
agree
what
with
do
you,
you-
Joe. And I always I work with some young pros. I work with people who are in the Hall of Fame. I work with young pros, and I love working with the young pros because if you start off on the right foot, it just helps you so much in your career. You don't get locked into a terrible contract with an abusive manager that you can't get out of. So it is really important to have an attorney look at things, and it doesn't have to necessarily be that you're going to retain that attorney for, if you can't afford it, right? Maybe you're not retaining them for months, but just for a limited scope of reviewing the contract and helping you make sure that what you think it says is actually what it says. And same thing with a financial planner. Some transparency is so important. People should have documentation of all your expenses, where your money is, and that is just should be like the bare minimum, right? And if you're asking for those things and someone's giving you attitude about it, it's a major red flag.
As we talk about right now, we're talking about financial and whatnot. And at this moment, as we speak right now, when I walked into where I'm at right now, here in my house, it's another separate room outside by the pool house. That's where I talked to you guys from. I have my financial advisor got here about 15 minutes ago. He's waiting for me inside. And he comes here about 3 times a year to sit down with me, go over everything, which is something that we all got to do for the fighters. Everybody in boxing making money, or you've done what you've done in the past, you invest your money. You need a financial advisor to talk to you and explain to you on a regular basis once you do your investments, making sure what's going on. Because when it comes to all these numbers, I'm not good at that. When it comes to how to invest the money the proper way, you need a good financial advisor. This guy that I have he's amazing. I've been with him for over 20 years.
Oh, that's the guy that you met in DC, Washington, DC?
You remember that, right?
Oh, yeah, I remember your stories. They be wild and out there, Joe. That was a great meeting of mine.
Good thing you were not a fighter. You would have forgotten by now.
Well, you know what? One thing is sure that I like about what you said, and Liza can chime in on this too, is just making sure you got representation with you. Exactly. Just like, oh no, we can't do this meeting unless I have, Liza with us or whomever it is. Like you want to talk to me, you also want to talk to my attorney. And that's something that's been missing because there's been a few times, boxers just, like, oh, they offered me a deal I couldn't refuse. I didn't have time to, send it over to my attorney or whatever, like, and it's like, oh yeah, it was an opportunity you could have waited for. Yes. Right, Liza?
I can tell you, I'm going to tell you something. David Haney, one day with his father, when he was coming up the ranks, when he turned pro, he came, he said, Joe, can we talk to you? So they both came to my house here. I was ready to retire from boxing. And they said, Joe, we got a little problem here. We got this contract. They want us to sign this contract. I'm not going to bet you the amount of money. And I told the guy, I looked at it. I said, you know what? Don't even bother with it. Don't even bother with that. You're worth a lot more than that. And I think it was less than a year later, he called me up and said, Joe, thank God that we didn't sign that contract. Like you told us not to sign the contract. We didn't sign it. And look what we got now. I said, see, that's why I'm glad you listen. I'm glad you listened to me, you see? And that's the thing. Sometimes people see all these contracts with a couple of $100,000, or close to $1 million. And it seems like a lot of money, but in reality, it's not. The way these are these days, you got to go for the big one, especially the fighter like Haney, who I knew when I met him when he was 10 years old. I met him at a AAU tournament up in Mesquite, Nevada, and he was fighting, and he won his fight. He won the AAU, the Police Athletic League tournament. I said, "Come here, young man." I said, "Who's your trainer?" He said, "My father." I said, "Bring him over here." He brought his father over to me. I said, "Sir, this kid, watch him close. This kid's your son. That's championship material. That kid's going places." And when he was 20 years old, he was a WBC lightweight champion. 10 years later, after I met him. You see, so I can see good talent where it's out there. And I'm glad that some of the people that are listening, like your viewers, some of the fighters, managers, or trainers, and even some like the attorney there. And, it's good that we all get together, talk like this, because I think that either the attorney that's there now, one thing that I also recommend that we should be doing is giving seminars to fighters, not only on the safeties and the rules of boxing, but also to educate them, give them like 20 minutes, part of our seminar, takes 15, 20 minutes out to talk to them about how to invest money when they turn pro, you see? That's all important.
Yes, I mean the NFL has an entire weekend orientation in which other established players are giving their wealth of knowledge and bringing financial people to the table for them to learn from. I mean, and this is when they're rookies. I mean, but we're not doing that in boxing. And that seminar situation would be a great opportunity for people like Liza to come in and just give a little knowledge now, not a lot now, Liza, because you can't tell some people even a little extra crumbs, because then they feel like they can do everything on their own then, which is not the case, but
as far as a lot of young individuals don't not take advice, especially if you don't have the education. I got a grandson of mine who graduated from Purdue University 2 years ago, and he just signed a contract. We did that with a lawyer, a contract with they call the Canadian, the Argonauts from Canada football team. He was playing with the Boilermakers, and then he's playing now with the Canadian team, the Argonauts, the Toronto Argonauts. He's playing with them. He starts in May. And I told her, I said, Bryce, his name is Bryce Hampton. And he was a real good player in college. And he graduated from college, from Purdue University. And had good. I said, Bryce, I'm glad that you think he's smart. He's always thinking about, the future. He always asks for advice. But a lot of individuals, like I said, they don't have the schooling, and they don't want to take good advice. They think they know it all, and they make a lot of mistakes. So it's important that we all listen. I know me and myself, I'm always listening to whoever I can, even at my age. I'm still listening to see what I can learn. There's always room for improvement. Don't think you know it all. You always try to learn, pick up, like we're talking about different things today. We all pick up from one another so we can say, gee, I didn't know that. I'm so glad we had this little conversation. And our viewers out there, I hope that you guys are listening and taking notes, because this topic we're talking about right now, a lot different than other podcast talk shows that we've had in the past. But we're talking about the future of these fighters.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, Jones, to do more of a seminar for boxers. And I've been thinking about approaching the California Commission, because that's where I live, about that type of thing, and trying to increase the educational component for fighters turning pro.
I think so. And if you can't do that, if they don't make it happen quick, you can go to a local gym, find out what local gyms in your restriction, and go there and talk to them at the gym. Tell the gym manager, can we take 5 minutes, 10 minutes of my time just to explain to them a little about investment, those are turning pro or those who are pro here, and we can talk a little about their future. Just all I want to give a little 10-minute presentation, and I'm sure they'll let you do that,
Yeah, that's a good idea too. I actually have several boxing gym clients, and so maybe I'll set it up with them as a starting point. That's smart.
Yeah, exactly. And once you do that, the commission say, I heard what you're doing is good stuff. We got to implement that their program with our commission, with our seminars. They do the seminars once or twice a year for the local commission, but they can put you part of that program. I think it would be great.
Liza, I like your background, how you blurred it out. I like how that looked. I was going to ask you, do you have quite a few women client fighters that you're representing?
I do have a few female fighter clients. So you guys keep your eye out for Stephanie Simon. She is 2-0 as a pro. She will be, I guarantee she'll be 3-0 in April. She is a Marine captain. She was the U.S. boxing trial champion, but was not selected to go to the Olympics, which was controversial, and she's pretty outspoken about that. And she's just a badass. She's very smart, and she's a great fighter. She looks like a superhero. So keep your eye out for Stephanie Simon. But yeah, I have a handful of young pro fighter clients, and I really love working with them. I love working on a team with people. I wish Stitch were on, because I was, thinking about some of the things he said in interviews in the past about being a caretaker and really caring for your fighters. And he does that in a very physical way. But to me, that's something that I also enjoy about my role. It's not a physical caretaking, but it's a different kind of, being in someone's corner. And so I really love that about my boxing law practice.
Do you have a website? You have a web page where people can reach out to you, get information?
I do. Do you want me to tell you what it is?
Yes. Yes.
Sure, I have to spell it for you because it's my name, which is a bit tough. But it's
we want our viewers out there that are watching the show to take note of this. Okay, so if you viewers out there, take note that the email address or phone number, whatever you have available for them. We want people to reach out to you for this.
Oh, yes.
Thank you. So the website is www.LizaBreretonLaw. So it's
spell your last name, please.
You can see my name on the screen, LizaBrereton law.com. I also do a lot on Instagram. So you can find me through my name on Instagram, or my handle is OneTime, WONTIME. And I do a lot of videos about education around boxing rights and duties.
Good.
All right. Thank you for giving us that information. We do have a lot of prospects in the Florida area, and Joe Cortez is one of our special guests that comes down to our Florida Boxing Hall of Fame weekends. And we have it coming up in June. You gonna come this year?
Oh, of course.
Yay! Awesome. So we have a lot of fun at these events, but we also, Liza, I mean, if there's a way, I mean, it would be great if you could come to, because we have an expo day on Saturdays, in which a lot of information and a lot of our, prospects are coming through and talking and looking at the documentary series, because we got a part 3 of that documentary series that's gone global right now, by Padrino Steve Canton. Down at his gym, and that's SJC Boxing Gym. So it's also the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame Museum is there as well in Fort Lauderdale. But for the actual Hall of Fame weekend, it's in St. Petersburg, which is Tampa Bay area, and so it's that's a huge boxing hub. So that would also be an amazing opportunity for you to come in and speak, to some of the guests and really get information out on, how to contact you and things like that. I think, come on down to Florida.
I'm interested. Yeah, send me the info and we'll be in touch. I went to school, my freshman year of college, I went to Eckerd College in St. Pete, so I'm familiar with the area.
I used to work at Eckerd.
Yeah, he used to work at Eckerd.
Yeah, right over there by the toll.
Yeah, that's right by the beach. St. Pete Beach is right there.
Right by the beach. Yeah, I played soccer there, and then I ended up just staying 1 year, but it was beautiful.
Yeah, it's gorgeous here. And we stayed a lot of years in that area where the 54th Avenue South, like right there by where you're talking about is like right there. So it's a beautiful area. But that means that you know how to get here very easily. And it's going to be, while we got Joe Cortez coming down, we can have Liza in the building, Spanish Ray. That means only you need to figure it out. Now, that's June 20th through the 22nd this year. But I'll be glad to send you like an email on everything and keep you abreast of everything that we have going on.
Muhammad Ali came here some years ago, and he came to Eckerd College. I don't know if Liza was there then, but Ali came to visit, and he went to that college, Liza.
No,
Oh,
she's
wow,
not.
yeah.
That. She's young. She's
yeah, it was probably before her time. Yes.
God would have been. Joe, we're looking forward to seeing you in the area too, because I know you're coming for some seminars dealing with the senior care as well.
Yes, yes, yes. You know, also want to mention our condolences to our dear friend Brian Carey, whose wife just passed away a couple of days ago. And he's one of your Hall of Famers there, a referee, retired referee from Florida.
Oh, Brian Gary, yes. Miss Phyllis, yes. Miss Phyllis, our timekeeper, was a beloved figure for us here in Florida. And she probably, we're looking it up now, but we think she was the first woman to ever be in the boxing commission here in Florida as that timekeeper.
Yes,
So
yes,
we're all heartbroken about her. Yes.
A very nice person.
Okay.
And we offer our condolences to Brian Carey and family and friends. We're going to miss her this year at the Hall of Fame, but we're always in her heart, in our hearts. We love her.
She really is. I mean, she told me a story once about a Don King show that was so long. It was like 14 hours. And she told me, she said, it might have been 15 hours, but she said, I don't even remember going to the bathroom. I said, what you doing now? And she said, it was just so exciting and the fights just kept coming and coming. I never had time to go to the bathroom. So she really loved boxing, you know, and her husband as well. So, I mean, she's just going to be so missed.
Yes,
but she set the standard, you know, for women in the sport here in Florida. When you work behind the scenes and you're not necessarily, you know, in the ring, she definitely set the standard.
And both recently, also Steve Campton, the president of the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame, had I believe it was their 56th anniversary for having the longest standing boxing gym in the United States, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Congratulations for him for that as well.
Absolutely. He just got, he didn't even know until like a year ago that he had the longest opened boxing gym in the United States. Exactly. And he's still going strong too.
Exactly.
Yes. We love you, Padrino.
He was back in the day. He was one of the few fighters that used to, when I was boxing, that he's watched me and my brother when I won all those championships in New York City for the Golden Gloves. He was always watching me and my brother Mike, the Cortez brothers back in New York, winning all those Golden Glove championships. And I remember one night, Steve said, Joe, I remember one night, you fought one night in Madison Square Garden for the Eastern Golden Glove championships. It was a big tournament. Every fighter was a champion for their respective state. He said, you knocked out both opponents the same night in Madison Square Garden. I said, yes, I did. You know, it was, and then from there, I went to Chicago, the old Chicago Stadium. I had to beat a guy by the name of Oxford German for the intercity New York versus Chicago. Back then, it was the National Golden Glove Championship. And one day, what's his name? The trainer from Detroit, would train
Manuel Stewart.
Manuel Stewart.
Yeah. One day we were in Germany. He saw me over there. He had some fighters when I was refereeing there. He said, Joe, are you that skinny Puerto Rican that fought a guy named Oxford German in Chicago and beat him for the national championship? I said, yeah, that was me. He said, Joe, he said, I fought the guy that you beat for the national. He beat me in semifinals. I didn't reach the final because you beat Oxford German. I mean, Oscar German beat him. And I ended up beating the guy that beat Emmanuel Stewart, you know, back in the days. And I was only 17 years old at the time. Can you imagine that?
Oh, I know that had to be special because, I mean, if you knew Emmanuel Stewart anytime in the history that he was alive, especially once he started, you know, being on that status of like Crump Gym and HBO commentating and, I mean, just having the legends, you know, his main Tommy, especially after he did the little rant with Tommy in the ring, you know, you got a dead man over here. Come on, what you waiting for? You know? Get him out of here.
He even had Michael Moore when he fought George Foreman when I refereed that night. He was Michael Moore's trainer as well.
Yeah, I
Spanish
grew up in
Ray
Ann
has a
Arbor,
question.
so I grew up just outside of Detroit, and was a fan of the Crunk Gym, obviously legendary gym. And one of my posts a couple months ago was about Emmanuel Stewart and like just talking about some of boxing's greatest trainers. And
Right.
it was a fun kind of like debate / conversation about what makes a great trainer, and it was interesting.
Yeah, he was a good trainer and a good man, had a good heart. Very knowledgeable, and he cared about his fighters very much.
Definitely. Said Ray had a question.
Yeah, Spanish Ray, you're up.
What's up, Jose?
What's up? Listen, Liza, I'd like to know how you got into boxing.
I'm a late bloomer with boxing. I didn't grow up in a boxing household. I was always a tomboy, but my sport was really soccer, which I played in college and afterward. And I was it was 2017. I was just kind of in a rough patch in life, and I just really felt like I needed to punch stuff. So I just figured out where the closest boxing gym was to me, and I just walked down the street. I walked in. I didn't know how to do anything, and these trainers, Dion and just took me under his wing and just taught me the basics. And I learned so quickly how you have to really let your ego go in boxing if you want to get any better, at least. And so I just fell in love with training. And then I started being a much bigger fan of the sport and learning about the sport and just how much there was to learn, and just, so gained so much. I mean, I always had respect for it, but I just didn't know a lot about it. And so I got pretty obsessed, which I think happens. And I'd been a lawyer for a long time, and I just decided to merge my passion for boxing with my legal career. So since I've been working in boxing, it's been like the happiest I've ever been as a lawyer. People are surprised to hear that, because there is so much like toxic stuff and history and abuse in boxing. And at the same time, there's just as many stories of perseverance and overcoming the odds. And there are good people in boxing. There are people that have found a way to make money ethically, which I think it's like a myth that you cannot do that. You can. And so finding those people, working with young pros to be in their corner, I really love it.
You have any?
You know what? Also, what's funny too, Liza, is like the opposite end, which is that I don't know. I was a paralegal for years, but I don't know a lot of attorneys that's very happy either. So
you're saying I had a really low bar.
Yeah, you can be a happy attorney too on top of it, not just because of the boxing, but because you're doing something that's you're enthusiastic about, and that's you're helping people as well. So it's kind of like on both sides of things. It's like it's a rarity. An attorney that's very happy, and a boxing entertainer that's also very happy.
Good point.
Can I mention something? There's a girl by the name of Laura Serrano. Laura Serrano was a female boxer champion from Mexico who was an attorney. Didn't allow women boxing in Mexico, and she fought her own case in Mexico. To get women for boxing. WBC, nobody approved boxing in women boxing in Mexico. She fought in court, and she won the case, and she was the first, not only the first female boxer, but also became the first female world champion in boxing from Mexico, Laura Serrano.
All right, let's go, Serrano.
Yeah, I didn't know about her. That's amazing.
Yeah, she lives here in Las Vegas now with her family.
She's in Vegas now. Yeah, I like that story. There's also a story of someone a female in New York that also was pivotal for their state, being able for women to fight just like in tournaments and in the amateurs even. So there are some women that really had to put their name and what do you want to say, careers on the line to be able to establish things for the rest of the ladies today.
Me as a referee, I referee several women in boxing. Laura was one of them, and Layla Makata, the other girl, Chrissy Martin, and Layla Ali. I referee a lot of female boxing events. It was just so much fun. I remember Chrissy Martin used to fight a lot of Mike Tyson's undercard. She was like a co-main event. She'd come out dressed in pink with the pink robe, pink gloves, pink shoes, everything. She
Pioneer.
And then she was a hell of a fighter back in the days. She was making big money, talking about a couple of $100,000 for a female back in those days. That Don King used to pay her because she was a big attraction on the undercard of Mike Tyson's card.
Yeah, coal
Yo,
miner's
what
daughter,
about
right?
Lucia Riker?
Was that?
I said, what about Lucia Riker?
I referee as well, here in Las Vegas, yeah. Lucia Riker.
She was
Yeah, there's a bunch of good fighters. They had a girl that was a model from LA. She was a pretty girl. I forgot her name.
oh, you talking about dang, what's her name?
What, Hammer?
No, the pretty girl wore pink that was in the Playboy magazine.
Daisy Lane? No, she wasn't in Playboy.
Mia St. John.
Oh, Mia.
Mia St. John, exactly. Mia
Mia
St.
St. John.
She's a guest speaker at the WBC Women's Summit too.
Yeah, she was very good fighter, very pretty, and I referee her several times here in Las Vegas. I mean, when Chrissy Martin was fighting, I mean, these girls were in the mix, you know, in different weight classes, but they were all coming up at the same time.
Hey Joe, there's been a debate lately about 15 rounds coming back. What do you feel about that?
Well, back in the old days, that's the way it was. But then when Ray Boo Boo Mancini knocked out and Dooku Kim passed away, and then the government got involved and said we're gonna ban boxing, and Section Body said no, we're gonna make some adjustments. What they did, they cut down from 15 rounds to 12 rounds. They used to have 3 judges back in the old days. Back in the old days, they had 2 judges, and the referee was the 3rd judge and referee at the same time. So there were 2 judges, and that was referee judge. So then, they took the judges away from the referees, and they brought in the 3rd judge so the referee could concentrate more on the safety of the fighters. So that's what happened. So they said it was better. This way, the referee would be more controlled, making sure that safety first, and the secondary was enforcing the rules. So they made those changes back in those days. And a lot of people say, well, we could get a decent fight with 12 rounds. And Jose Suleiman, the president of the World Boxing Council, established that. And that's where it was, because they were talking about banning boxing in the United States because of that fight. It got so much publicity of Dooku Kim dying here in Las Vegas.
Right.
A lot of eyeballs. But you know what? We were talking to Mancini one year at an event in Miami, and he told us like basically there have been more boxing deaths since they went to 12 rounds than actually there were when it was 15 rounds. And I don't know what the statistics are on that, but I don't know if there's more years now of 12 rounds or if they really have just been more problems with different sparring and everything before you even get to, you know, your actual fight that's causing some of these injuries. So I'd have to do more research on that. But he wanted to point that out, that they blamed him and his fight, but that there are actually more fights now at 12 rounds.
Well, this is why I said trainers, I believe they got a lot of good trainers out there, a handful of real good ones. But I think trainers have to be trained. The trainers need to be getting classes themselves, because a lot of trainers, a lot of fighters take a pounding in the ring while sparring, getting ready for a fight. So let's say they're gonna fight a championship fight or a 10-round fight, whatever, but they spar about 80 to 100 rounds before they even fight the main event that they're fighting at. So they're taking a lot of punches, being that they have the headgear on and the gloves a little bit bigger. They have a tendency of maybe not defending themselves as much as they should, and they're taking a lot more punches. A lot of these fighters, I've seen fighters get knocked out during training, and they have a fight coming up in a week or 2 weeks. When I was fighting back in those days, I would see guys get knocked out, and they were fighting a week later. So you can't come in there as damaged goods. You got to be careful. So the trainers got to say, you know, we got to be careful. And I blame the gym owners should be responsible. Say, hey, wait a minute, guys, throw up in there. There's a war going on in the ring. That's supposed to be sparring. Not supposed to be but these guys, they try to
cut it off at a certain point. Cut the sparring off.
Because they get hurt.
You know, prior to the fight as it gets closer.
Yeah, and they go into the fight. Damage good. So you got to be careful with that. And that's why I said trainers, you got to get a good trainer to know exactly, like, so many. Manuel Stewart was a great trainer. You got Teddy Alice, and you got so many good trainers. Lou Duver. I mean, you've been so many good trainers have been out there. I've been a lot of good ones out there. But there are some that go apply for a license. They go to a commission, apply for a license to be a trainer, and then they give them a license. Wait a minute. If I was a commissioner, I'll say, wait a minute. Let's say the Department of Motor Vehicle. You go there, I want a driver's license. They say, no. You got to take a written test and you got to take the road test to get a license. But in boxing, you got you got a fighter's license in your hand, and then you hand you a license without you being certified. How do I know that you're a good trainer? I'm gonna give you a license. You got to make sure you got to train these trainers.
Yeah, I know you're speaking truth on that, as well as the some cut men too. They don't have they don't have to do any additional training or a course even before receiving that certificate.
Yeah, Stitch Duran's daughter has been working on that issue of trying to get certification for cut men.
Right. It's so important. It's so important because you're practicing medicine. You know, how can I'm going to a hospital? Yeah. I'm working on somebody's cut in the hospital. I'm not a nurse or a doctor. You got to be certified, you know, and I think that's very important. But I think, you know, commission should start listening to these type of shows to see and say, wait a minute, we got to do something about this. These guys know what they're talking about. So we have to try. That's why talking about this program, having these programs on the air, viewers out there, you may have somebody that knows, maybe some commissioners or individuals that work with the commission can listen to this show, or they can make a copy of the show and show it to the commission and say, you know what? These guys were making sense of what they were talking about, you know? We should have a cutmen to be certified, trainers to be certified, and give them more, like Lisa with her seminars as far as talking to signing contracts and investments to get financial guys. We should make some changes to enhance boxing, make boxing a little bit better.
Yeah. When you know better, you do better. Spanish, right?
Right. What's up?
Liza, you got any fighters you work with now that we know?
Yeah, I got a few. Some of them might, you know, some of them are probably fine with me saying their names, and some maybe want me a little more in the background.
Okay. You mentioned one of them that's a female boxer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Stephanie Simon.
Are you familiar with Joe DeGuardia?
Joe DeGuardia?
He's a liar. He's a lawyer. I was going to say liar. He's a lawyer.
A lawyer. He's a promoter for New York.
Star Boxing, yeah. Joe DeGuardia.
I don't think so.
Star Boxing. Okay, Star Boxing, yes.
He's out of New York. Joe DeGuardia. Try to reach out to him. He's a good guy. You can talk to him, and you guys can put your two heads together, East Coast and West Coast together, and talk about ideas to getting these programs off the ground together. He'd be a good guy to learn from, and he's been in boxing for over 25 years.
Yeah, he'd be a good mentor. He's like, we did an interview on him, right, Spanish Ray? You had him on the show once, and we did an interview with him.
The reason I asked is hopefully we could get her on with Joe one day, and we could, you know, speak on the work that they do.
Right. Yeah, for sure. We want to do that.
It'd be good.
Hey, Joe. Joe, I wanted to know two things real quick. When you were fighting, what was your nickname and what was your favorite punch to throw? Your signature.
Well, I was more of a boxer, and when I turned pro in Bakersfield, California, and I was a bantamweight. So, you know, I was tall, being 5'8.5" back then. I don't know what I am now, but you know, as you get older, you shrink, they say. But 5'8.5", and now I'm a middleweight. I'm a 160 pounder compared to when I used to box. I was a 118 pounder, and back in those days, you know, it was nice, you know. I had a fighter by the name of Gaspar Indian Ortega, that your mom, Ray, your mom, Minnie knew him very well. Gaspar Ortega was a welterweight from Tijuana, Mexico, and he came to New York City in 1955 when he was 20 years old, and he fought. Gaspar Ortega had 185 professional fights, and in 1963, listen to this carefully. 1963, you can look it up on BoxRec. Gaspar Ortega had 23 professional fights in 1963. You heard that right. 23 fights in 1 year. Okay?
2 fights a month.
Yeah, sometimes it was 3 times a week. But he was look at the box record, you'll see Gaspar Ortega. And he passed away 4 years ago, and he was my mentor. That's how I got into boxing. and I got his son. I got his son, Mike Ortega. I got him into boxing as a referee. He's been referee for about 20 years now. And but Gaspar Ortega fought all this fight, and Gaspar only got stopped twice. One was Emil Griffith for the world title in 1961, and the second one was by Sandro Massinghi in Italy in 1964, I believe it was. He only got stopped twice, TKO. One was in the corner, and the one with Emil Griffith was the referee stopped it. Ortega was still on his feet, but the referee stopped it. But those I mean, Gaspar had a chin, a granite chin. He could take good punches, but he knew how to box. Either he knew how to slip punches. He was always bobbing and weaving. He told me how to hit and don't get hit, you know. And I learned a lot from Gaspar Ortega.
Joe, you know, my father was jealous of that guy.
You what?
My father was jealous of that guy because he was in love with my mom.
Oh. Everybody was jealous of Gaspar. Gaspar was a good-looking guy. He was single at the time, and then Gaspar Ortega got married when he was about 23 years of age. He got married to a young lady by the name of Iraida Ortega. Iraida Ramirez was her last name, and she married Gaspar and gave me Iraida Ortega. And she passed away 5 years ago. He passed away 4 years ago.
When I used to get mad at my mother, I say, "Yo, Mom, why did you pick Gaspar to be my father, man?"
Yeah, well, your mother before you were born, you didn't know, but your mother, but you know that your mother became the first Puerto Rican queen of the Puerto Rican Day Parade in New York City.
God bless her. 17 years old, right? 17.
She was young, yeah. She was young, younger, yeah. And I
Young
knew her
and beautiful.
we grew up together. We were about the same age. We grew up together in the same block in New York, 99th Street between Park and Madison. And yeah, your mother lived at 55 East 99th Street. I lived at 62 East 99th Street. So, you know, we were a couple of buildings away from each other. And, you know, I still got a little, I still got my memory. I still remember a lot of these things from the past. I remember a lot of stuff.
Joe, she told me you guys used to train in the roof.
Well, yeah, we did. We would jump rope over the roof because and we would shadow box up there. We couldn't make it to the gym because of the roof. They had a lot of open space on the roof, but we had to be careful. They got too close. They got too close to the edge.
Oh yeah, that was dangerous. What y'all was playing. That game you were playing was dangerous.
Yeah, but guys,
how many stories? How was that building, Joe?
No, it was only 6 stories. You know, but we jump. One day I took Gaspar Ortega with me to jump for one building. We jumped the alleys. We run and jump from one building to the other. And Gaspar said, "No, we did it with us one time." He said, "You guys can't do it. You guys are crazy. You guys are gonna fall and fall off the building. You're gonna die." We scared the crap out of us, and then we got us into boxing.
Hey, Liza, you can hear me?
I can, yes.
I used to watch the fights with my mom. She never liked watching boxing with me. She was like, "Oh," she wanted me to watch Dr. Phil. I'm like, "What we watching here?" She was like, "No, I want to." But then when I put it on the fights, she saw Joe, and she goes, "Oh, look at Joe." And I'm like, "You know Joe Cortez?" She was like, "Yeah, that's my brother." And I'm looking at her like, "Really?" And then she started watching all the fights, looking for Joe.
I love it. You're like, "Hey, Mom, Joe might be on. Let's watch." You never know.
She would come
guys, we're gonna wrap up.
Yeah,
we're gonna wrap up for tonight. We're running out of time, but before you all go, you know I must ask you your predictions, baby. That's right. We got this Tank versus Roach fight that's coming up this weekend. You know, this is the presser that was today. Wasn't much, you know, talking back and forth or pushing or slapping eggs on anybody. There wasn't any of that in their presser, the final presser. But I want to know who you got at the lightweight division. Will Tank get another KO, or will Roach surprise everybody and take over the world? Who's going first?
Ladies first. Liza, go.
Well, one of my Ring of Brotherhood Foundation committee members is training Tank, so I got to go with Tank.
All right.
Me, I I stay away from making predictions. My mentality, I still think like a referee. I will be neutral. I stay away from that.
Mm. Yeah, that's a good stage, Joe. I see what you're doing. He's staying politically correct. Yes. All right, Emilio, you go next then.
What happens when you spray a roach with rain?
You know what? They come back. That rain does not work.
No, I got tank.
You got tank?
Probably
Okay.
6-7 round KO. 6-7.
All right. 6-7. So
6 or
stoppage.
7.
You
Yeah,
thinking of
stoppage.
KO?
Yeah.
Pretty early. Okay.
Oh, okay. And Spanish Ray, that leaves you. What's up? What you got for me?
Okay. Before I say that, let me just give a shout out to Duran Jr. for winning his bare knuckle fight. Shout out to him and his wife Yesenia. Hopefully they'll be coming on to
Yeah,
congratulate
Stitch
them
got to
on
do a redo. Yeah,
yeah.
he definitely got to do a redo. He got away from
No,
us
I'm
tonight,
talking
but
about
that's
Duran.
not gonna happen.
Duran.
Oh,
No, Duran Jr. Roberto Duran
oh,
Jr.
Duran Jr., Roberto Duran Jr. Okay. Well, I like
His
him
wife
too. He was
chimed
very
in.
handsome.
His wife chimed in. Want to say hello to her. She's a hell of a
Okay.
manager, husband and wife. And as far as the fight, I got Tank, man. Of course, it's hands down Tank.
KO or 12?
I think he's gonna stop him, but I really want to see Shakur. I can't wait to see Shakur Stevenson in Tank. That's the fight.
Yeah,
Agreed.
well, you know how that is. I'm not gonna hold out my hopes for these never ever land fights. I got to see it. I got to see them in the actual ring together. I done already got my feelings hurt with this whole Shakur versus Schofield debacle. And so
And I got one more.
that just reminded me how I'm not supposed to get overly excited about these matchups.
Wrestle fight, my
And I got Liza. The new lawyer in the game.
Liza?
I got Liza. I'm in her corner.
All right. Okay. I like it. Okay, well, I guess I'll end by saying
they got a prediction.
Yeah, Jose said tank all the way. Okay.
Right.
I mean, you didn't tell us what round or if you feel like it's going the distance. You know, Lamont has a lot of great plans in place. He has a great strategy, and he is a nice, slick boxer, but he would have to be perfect the entire fight, and I just don't see that happening. I don't see how any boxer can just be perfect and make no mistakes the entire 12 rounds. So for that reason, it is only going to take Tank one punch and lights out. Will it come sooner or later? That's the question. I'm going to say Lamont is coming in shape. He trains here in Plant City. So I'm going to say he's going to come in super great shape. And for that reason, I will give it a late stoppage. But then again, I could be totally wrong. And it could be first round. Lights out, baby. You just never know. What you got? 6?
6 or 7.
Okay, well, I think it's going to be a late stoppage. Joe, I want to hear what your real prediction.
Say something.
Yeah, I'm going to hear that real prediction after this show.
So I just want to tell you guys that it's really nice being on the show today. It's an honor. Hope that we get together again soon. And remember, guys, I'm fair, but I'm firm. I got to get out of here.
Thanks,
Joe.
Nice to meet you.
All right.
Liza, thank you.
We're going to see you soon in June, Joe.
He's going for his 6th Hall of Fame. I'm going. His 6th Hall of Fame is coming up, Joe.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
We hear you. You got to be here. And just for a reminder before we go, Liza has her law office that you can contact for contract issues, or better yet, before you get into an issue, you can hit her up. Here's her website here. And then we also have the WBC Women's Summit coming up, and that's going to flow right into the International Women's Hall of Fame weekend out in Vegas at the Orleans Hotel and Casino. And then, of course, you know what? June 20th, we are going to have the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame weekend, which of course is going to be amazing. And you already heard one of the special guests is out of the bag because Joe Cortez will be in the house. So we got to send our shout outs to him, Liz. We do think that we want to see you too.
We'll see you in June, Liz.
Okay, don't forget, watch my show on Friday on the YouTube channel, the Joe Cortez Show. You can check that out. I'm on there every week.
Monday every week is Joe Cortez on YouTube, and you can go subscribe to him right now.
Yeah.
Right now.
Take care. God bless.
Salute, Joe.
Everybody take
Hey,
care.
Liz.
Yeah.
Welcome to the house, the one they talking about. Word of mouth, the boxing playhouse, without a doubt. All the latest and greatest boxing news, that's what it's all about.